What's up, Fishroom Fanatics? So this is going to be a real short, quick video because I just covered this not that long ago. But this never ceases to amaze me. It really doesn't. And of course, we're looking at the fry tank, but I mean, you can see this is actually not one of the adults, or I shouldn't say adults, but one of the older ones. That is the second batch that we had, and you can already see how big how big it is. Now back there, which it's not up front sadly, that is one of the ones that have been from, that is one of the ones from the first batch. There was only 2 of them that made it. And in comparison, oh, he escaped. But anyways, there's that one. In comparison, that's also one of the ones from the second batch. So you can see the direct size difference. And now it's basically just kind of going in and chilling in the corner. But I mean, that's how much bigger they are already. The other one's sitting over here hiding. Yes, there we go. There we go. So there you go. There's a really good view lengthwise of how long it already is. It's just, it's insane to think, you know. The other one is actually alive. I know it looked like it wasn't, but it was probably sleeping because I just turned the light back on. We had shut them down for the night, and I wanted to come down and record this real quick, but it's just absolutely, and he's coming up, so I can actually zoom out real quick here. And you can see that the one behind is, that one is second batch, and this is the very first batch. You can see how big it already is. I mean, it's close, if not already an inch long. They're pretty good size already, so it's cool to see that. You can see some of the other ones from the second batch as well in comparison. And they're like side by side right now. That's the comparison you get. But you can also see behind it or next to it, barely, there's one of the babies from the last batch we had. So the size differences are very noticeable, and this is a feeding from tonight, believe it or not. But by tomorrow, 90% of that will be gone, if not all of it will be gone. We had just did a water change in this tank not that long ago, and they get overfed, like I have mentioned in previous videos. If you haven't watched them, when it comes to fry, we always tend to overfeed. Now keep in mind, there's about 60 fry in here, and when they get a little bit bigger, I'm gonna start sorting them out. But you can see that the little ones are already down there picking. And I guarantee that the mollies that are in here are gonna be down there picking. And the mollies are taking a little bit longer to grow. The biggest ones that we have in there right now are this size basically. That's from the initial very first batch that we had. And it takes them a little while to grow, but you've seen in the other video, we have molly fry upstairs that are much, much older, that are already like pretty much full-sized. You can tell if they're gonna be lyre tail or just plain silver mollies. So, but between the snails and all of the babies and even the bigger ones, the juveniles, this food will all be gone. It's crazy, but it's true. So, just a couple quick tips, and I know I've mentioned them before, but in case you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I want to make sure I mention them again. For breeding any live bear is simply time. You know, make sure that the water parameters are correct. Temperature doesn't play a huge factor in most live bears. Normally, if you keep a tank around 76, between 76 and, well, between 74 and I'd say 78, realistically, they're going to do well and they're going to breed. The warmer the water is, it can have an effect on their metabolism, which means that they'll be more hungry, they'll eat more, and in turn they'll grow faster, just like shrimp. But the reality is, if you do it that way, it's possible that you're giving them a shorter life. So we usually run the water at about 76 degrees for most of the fry that we have. And once they become full grown, you know, they'll go into water that's between 76 and 78. It fluctuates down here. So at the coldest point, it's like 76. The warmest point, it's like 78, but the standard middle is right around 77. And they seem to do really well in that. And you see one of the trumpet snails just fell, but all you have to do is make sure that the water parameters are correct, and they will breed for you. It's not even an issue. You will have to be careful with certain species. Swordtails will eat their young, guppies will eat their young if they do not have enough coverage, which is the case in the koi swordtail tank that we have with the adults in it. We didn't have enough coverage. The first batch, there were 6 of them, only 2 survived. We yanked them out real quick. And pretty consistently after that, almost every 3 to 4 days, we had more fry. And plus we have virtually all of them pregnant again, and one of them looks really close to being due. So just again, make sure that you keep them on a set schedule. When you tend to do water changes, it drops the water temperature a little bit. That can spark breeding habits, but it's not guaranteed. If you notice that there's fish out there that, like angelfish, when you change the water and it's a little bit cooler, they tend to want to spawn more quickly. The same thing's true for barbs and some tigers, or not tigers, but sorry guys, I'm extremely tired right now. Barbs. Good grief. Like tiger barbs and things like that. Cooler temperature does tend to give them a chance to spawn. There's one of the babies right up front. You can see the comparison. Huge. And it's still on. But anyways, barbs tend to do that. Daniels go back and forth, really. I mean, it's finding whatever they like. They have a preference of their own. Some of them will spawn better in cooler water. Some of them will spawn better in warmer water. It just depends really on what kind you have and where they're originated from, and it's their own preference. So if they're not spawning for you right away, they are egg scatterers. Make sure that you're playing with the temperature of the water slightly. You don't want to do huge drops or huge increases because it will shock them and it can kill them. But for most live bears, it's simply just throw them into a tank, make sure the parameters look good, all of your levels are good, get them on a normal day-night schedule cycle, and they will breed. Just have to watch out if you don't have enough coverage to pull the babies out, because even though they may not get all of them, they're gonna get some of them, usually. So it's just something to keep in mind. But I mean, that's really gonna be about it for tonight. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, drop them in the box below as always. Suggestions are welcome. If you haven't already, please do us all a favor, like, subscribe, and share. Let's get some more people into the fish keeping hobby. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, happy fish keeping.